It's so great to see you, to be seen. I'm really excited. We are talking to one of our sponsors for the EP Mixer that's going to be taking place during the week of GSX in Dallas, Texas. He is a colleague, a friend, a business owner, an entrepreneur. He kind of does it all. I have with us the owner of MPS Security and the founder of the A.L.I.V.E Active Shooter Survival Program. Thanks so much for being here, Mr. Mike Julian.
Happy to be here, Craig. Thanks for having me.
You're always so gracious with your time, and I appreciate that. And I know you have compressed time because you are a busy guy. So let's get right to it. First of all, tell us a little, for those of you who don't know you, if they've been sleeping on social media, because I've seen you everywhere and I love it. Tell us more about tell us about your business. Uh, you know, though they're not a question, but tell us, tell us about it.
Sure. Well, let me start at the beginning of my career. My father, who was in the Navy and then law enforcement, started our company in 1967. I was born and grew up in the business. The name was National Business Investigations. We became I incorporated after he passed. I created and we did EP, but I created a separate division to focus on security because, frankly, I was burned out doing investigations, from the time I was 16 to 29 when he passed. And I believe I enjoy security. So I started MPS Security and Protection in 2003, and it has grown to completely dwarf the investigative side of the house. And so we do, corporate investigations, workplace investigations, insurance defense, that type of thing. But MPS, the majority of our revenue is from executive protection and workplace violence mitigation, consulting, and so forth. So we do EP all over the country, and we have a uniformed division, which is a lot of headaches. So I'm kind of phasing that out. And frankly, there's more money in EP. And then, in 2013, as you know, because you're one of my certified instructors, I created the A.L.I.V.E Active Shooter Survival Training Program after becoming very upset. And it's funny, early this morning, I'm laying in bed because I woke up before my alarm, going through social media, and I found a video of this scooter, New York City, this active shooter on a scooter that was going and just killing people. And I knew we were going to have this interview today, and I saved the video because I knew everybody asked me, how did you get into it? Why do you do the active shooter training? And this very much shows this type of thing is what invoked the emotional response in me to want to create this program. And I don't know if you want to give me host and I'll share it or not, but it's a video of this guy shooting an 87-year-old man that lived 87 years and then was executed by some piece of garbage on a scooter. And I had such a profound emotional reaction to this, and this is why I got into this business, this why I started down this path, because it was heartbreaking, it was infuriating, and I remember this is how I felt when I thought I'm going to do something to change this. And I'm going to start teaching people how to survive situations like this. Now, my training, nobody's training could have helped because the guy came up from behind this man and shot him from, in the back, and it went through his chest and literally looks like it went through his heart. And he didn't even know what was happening. And the emotional reaction that I have is so intense. It's hard to sit still when I see this. Yeah. So anyway, I started the A.L.I.V.E program because I was sick of watching good people die at the hands of bad people and feeling myself hopeless and helpless and seeing how helpless they were. And I thought, well, this is something the mindset that these people need to have to survive situations, not like this, but in situations where there's an active shooter and they see it coming, is something that I've had because my dad drilled it into my head since I was a kid. And I realized that if I know how to do it, I can teach other people to do it. And that's the genesis of the A.L.I.V.E program.
Right. And Mike, if I was more apt, you described it perfectly, the video. I'd give you, if I knew how to share,
right click on my face and it'll show make host or make co-host or something.
Okay. Oh, there we go. Yeah, yeah. Let's go ahead and do that then. Let's take a look, and you should
All right,
have
so
it.
let me just show you this real quick, and
Sure.
I'll put original sound on so you can hear it. Share sound. This is just this. Can you see this?
Yeah.
Okay. This area right here, and this was I Protect USA is a group that I follow on, I don't know, Instagram or on something, and I saw this, and I literally had a hard time holding still. But watch this man, this poor man that lived 87 years of his life in perfectly good health, walking to church, and he's gunned down by some gutless, spineless piece of garbage like this. Oh, that's interesting. Couldn't actually, can't get the ones. That's interesting. And I literally had it queued up and it didn't work.
Huh.
Um, let me let me try it again and see what happens.
Okay.
Okay, guy shoots at him. He turns around after getting the shot. He's shot through the back and it goes right through his chest. Maybe to the right of his heart, but through his chest, in and out with a 9mm or 40 caliber, 45 flat.
Wow.
And that's where he dies.
Yeah,
And
that's hard to watch, man. It
any
is.
Craig, I don't know what's happening with our world. It's going to hell. But if there's anything I can do to aid or stop or hinder these people from doing what they do, then I want to do it. And when I had, as you know, Liz Moreno, who was at the Las Vegas massacre, who had been a student of mine from her employer hired me to go in a couple years prior, and she contacted me after and said that she thinks that my program is what saved her life, because when the shooting started at the Jason Aldean concert, she realized what was happening and she went, wait a minute, I've been trained, I know what to do. And she did what she was taught and she survived. And several people in the area, I've got a picture of the field where they were, died.
Yeah.
So that was a profound moment in my life where I realized that I can make a difference. So that's what I've
Yeah.
dedicated my life to.
Yeah. And clearly you have, and clearly you're passionate about it. So much so as to essentially, that's what that's what you spend your full time like doing. Like you're obviously you own it, you own another company or two, and but then that's where your time is, and so that's it's awesome. And not to which is kind of you kind of answered my second question for you, which is why do you do what you do, and so you've answered that plainly. Um, and I don't know that you've said it specifically, but let me ask you this: as far as A.L.I.V.E goes, or just being in this business or wherever, what's the best part of what it is that that you do?
Oh, hands down, it's when I have my students either come up to me directly right after an in-person presentation, or they contact me after they've taken my online course or after they've read my book, and they say, I feel so much more empowered now and so much more confident in my ability because I didn't know what to do before. I had no idea. Even if they watched the Run I'd Fight video, it's not, you don't really get the context and the history, and you don't understand mindset, you don't understand situational awareness. And they tell me I feel empowered, I feel more confident, I feel less scared. And that's why I did it. That's why I started the program. So when I hear that, it literally, I get an emotional, I feel warm and fuller. And I changed someone's life, even maybe to a tiny degree, but the sense of gratification and purpose that I get from hearing that from people, obviously from Liz Moreno, is it makes all of the thousands of hours I put into this program worth every minute.
Yeah, and as an instructor, and I recognize, and having gone through the training that we went through to become instructors, you do a great job of conveying the gravity of what could be if you don't, if you, for one, if you don't have the training, but also too, just like taking the time to do that, to, and even the oh man, all of a sudden I'm drawing a blank, but our, where we sit back and I want you to see what you'd see, what you hear, what you'd hear. The
Visualization.
visualization, yeah, the visualization that you, like, people will sit through that and they come out of that and they're like, yeah, that's different. That I can, it makes more sense now, as opposed to, like, I did a presentation and training for a group that owns a bar, right? And so, some of the videos, a lot of the ones that we had at the time, or they're like office setting. They're like, well, how does this, how does this affect us? Well, I want you to go into where you would be mentally. I want you to see it. Where are the exits? What if somebody comes through that door? What happens? Somebody's in there, then what? And on and on. And so, just, I hate to say just building awareness helps. It does, but this goes well. The training goes well beyond that. At least that's been my experience.
Thanks.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, look, I preach that, when is the worst time to create a plan? When you need it.
when you need.
So I teach people how to do what they need to do, how to prepare for it, what to look for, how to react when they see it, and then the visualization exercise, and then module B, when we actually, if we do that, we physically go through scenarios and simulations.
Mhm.
People see, in not just in their mind, but they literally see in their eyes what to do, and now they have a plan. Because imagine something happens and it's a matter of life and death within seconds, and you're trying to create a plan under that pressure and that stress and that fear. It's the wrong time to do it. So be prepared it's monumental, and we know that it works.
Yeah, yeah, clearly. So I don't know. I don't know if this question pertains to you, because it sounds like it might not. But if you weren't doing what you're doing, where else? Where would Mike Julian go? Like, what would he do? What would he be? And I think it's okay to say impossible, but is there anything else that interests you, that where you'd like to be spending more time?
Well, I bought my first house when I was 23, and it was a complete piece of garbage. I'm not going to
Mhm.
cuss. I normally would, but I won't. It was a complete piece of garbage. And so my father helped me and taught me how to myself personally do a lot of the more minor, I mean, all the way up to drywall and plumbing and electrical, basic electrical and stuff. And I have always enjoyed either fixing or creating things with my hands, because I like to look when I'm done and go, I did that. That's a great sense of accomplishment for me. And I've done some of it since then, but I think I would probably be involved in purchasing distressed properties or homes and fixing them up myself, or with the help, or hiring a contractor or handyman or whatever, to make something nice out of something not nice, and then sell it, or rent it, or do Airbnb or something like that. So I don't care necessarily for the real estate portion of it, the transactional part,
Sure.
but owning and working on and personally creating or fixing something up. I really enjoy that. I don't know, I started doing surveillance for my dad's company when I was 16 years old. Except for wanting to be a cop since I was a little kid, and then testing it, going to Orange County, California, behind my dad's back, and applying and doing quite well until, I didn't pass the psych, which I don't know if it's because I'm undesirable psychologically, or it's just one of those things. It was also during the time where white males were not accepted into law enforcement and fire because of the quotas they had for minorities and so forth. Either way, that was devastating for me. I would not be in law enforcement today, because it is completely underappreciated, and I don't know about the pay, but underappreciated for sure.
Mhm.
So I'm not entirely sure. I've been doing this my whole life, and it would have to do with creating things, or improving things, or accomplishing things, making things better. that would give me the sense of gratification, I think. So it would not be a job, and anything I do, I would do something that made money. I mean, I consider myself a businessman, so I'm not satisfied with just a few little goodies here and there. I like stuff. I like toys. I like my river house. I like traveling. So whatever I did, it would probably be something where I could make some money at.
Right. Right. Well, speaking of just making things better, taking taking what had been available as the kind of the standard of active shooter survival training, um, it seems like you maybe made, or not maybe, it seems like you did make that better, right? And I'm sure Liz Moreno would back me up on that, along with many other people who now feel empowered and feel better about something that you did create, or taken a program, looked at it and said, how do I make that better and how do I make it mine? Which clearly you've done. So, Mike, where can anybody who's watching, listening, where can they find more of you, A.L.I.V.E, MPS?
Well, as you know, I'm a bit of a social media. I don't want to use a bad word, but I'm on it a lot. I mean, I actually have a social
We know
media
where you're going.
a social media manager that puts me on a lot, but I post my own personal stuff as well.
Mhm.
So I'm all over social media. You can Google Michael D or Michael Julian and private investigator, executive protection, security consultant, active shooter, and you can find me anywhere. You can find the A.L.I.V.E program anywhere on the internet if you just Google A.L.I.V.E active shooter. But the private investigation firm, if there's any investigative needs anyone needs, is National Business Investigations Inc., and that's investigations-nbi.com. The security company, MPS Security and Protection, is security-mps.com. And then A.L.I.V.E is, A.L.I.V.E active shooter, and that's activeshootersurvivaltraining.com. Now, for this audience, I think it may be beneficial to know that part of my offerings in the A.L.I.V.E program is, like you, to create new instructors. I intend for the A.L.I.V.E program to be the most respected and most used active shooter program in the world someday, with annual conferences in Vegas and the whole 9 yards. So I'll have hundreds or thousands of instructors throughout the world, which I do now, Mexico, Canada, Australia. So if anyone's interested in becoming an instructor, there's a 2-day course. I've got a master instructor in Maryland that does it in person. I don't do it in person anymore. I do it via Zoom, thanks to COVID, learning how to do that, which has actually been pretty successful. But we do them once a month. And so you can become a certified instructor, and we teach you how to teach the A.L.I.V.E program. We give you all the business tools. We give you all of the marketing information, all of the PowerPoints, images, videos, everything. By the time you're done with my 2-day program, you can go out the next day and sell and teach the course. And it's a fairly, it's in demand right now. So it can be fairly lucrative. So if anyone's interested in learning more about the active shooter certified instructor course, you can reach me at mjulian@aliveactiveshooter.com, or just go to the website, activeshootersurvivaltraining.com, and fill out one of the contact captures. You can find the book. It's an Amazon bestseller in 6 categories on Amazon, or we have it on the, here's the book.
Yeah, saw that. Yeah.
It's you can buy the book, but just reach out to me if anybody's got any information or questions. I love to talk about active shooter survival training. It's what I'm passionate about. It's what's relit the fire under my ass after being a PI and security guy my whole entire career. I was burned out, and I found I created this program, and it revitalized me and lit a fire under my ass. So I'm excited again to be doing what I'm doing, which is kind of nice.
That's awesome. Well, Mike, again, I appreciate you taking the time. I know you're a busy guy, and will we see you at GSX?
I will be at GSX. I will be at the Mixer. I'm actually going to have, because I've got so many of my certified instructors that go to GSX and IPSB. I might have a little get together at a restaurant or something at GSX, because I'll have several instructors there. But at IPSB in December in Dallas, I'm going to actually have a Mixer. So you will obviously be invited to that. Cool. And but I will be at GSX for sure. I already registered. I'm actually speaking at GSX. So I definitely am going to be there.
Actually, you know what? I think I saw that. Maybe. Yeah. Well, I'll look for it now, and now I got something to go see. So I appreciate that. But Mike, again, Thank you so much. Thanks for your time. And if nothing else, we'll see you in Dallas.
You bet. Always good to see you, Craig.
Thanks, bro.